As many commenters have pointed out, I have been suspiciously quiet about a certain politician that seems to be getting the headlines that he's always dreamed of being one of the most famous politicians in the country. He's done that, and I gotta say, all credit to him on his own accord, because it certainly hasn't been me, except for maybe the first part that snowballed this whole thing. But yeah, he is doing the rounds, and I am not. This sucks, and I have to be really careful about what I'm saying. My brain is editing everything that it says in advance. I really do feel like Kyle Sandilands on his radio show, just wait for the dump button to be hit at any second. But let's try and get through this together, because you can only push a snarky YouTube commentator so far. You can't keep dangling this meat in front of me. You got me, all right, that's it, I'm buying again. For those who only get their news from me, here's the news. For weeks now, it has been revealed that John Barilaro tried to get this cushy $500,000 taxpayer-funded job in New York. You know, Mr. Rural himself wants to live in the most metropolitan cities. London wasn't metropolitan enough for him. Neither was LA. Had to move it to the Big Apple, the city that never sleeps. It needs to be that soaked in light pollution. It just so happened for this job that his chief of staff said that he wanted, and said that he was going to orchestrate events that he could personally get it. And wouldn't you know, all these qualified people, much more qualified than John. I mean, the guy barely passed TAFE, it's not hard, but they just so happen to have been maligned out of the way. And then he got it. There was a bunch of media scrutiny nonetheless, which I've got to say, just praise to the mainstream press, because this is one of the major reasons that I haven't been covering this as well, is that they actually are doing their job, because as Michael West said so eloquently once, the press are experts at bayoneting the dead. And with these headlines, non-stop, relentless, week-on-week headlines, bang! Is that Big Ben? Maybe it's the Statue of Liberty's torch and I've never noticed it's actually a bell. I guess we'll never find out, especially John. Especially after what occurred in Manly. He was out on Saturday night, enjoying a pizza, just reporting the facts here.
On Saturday night, I went out with friends for a few drinks, for a pizza.
Walking around there, got in a spot of trouble. I've not seen this yet. I mean, I've seen the fight many times, but I haven't seen it reported on 7 News. So, we're all gonna do a classic YouTube react together. Like this video, come see my live show, Newcastle's next. Now.
Good evening. Former Deputy Premier John Barilaro is now...
Mark Ferguson's starting to look like my granddad when he started putting boot polish in his hair as dye.
Investigated by police for allegedly assaulting a cameraman.
Jesus, how careful is the news by claiming that that was alleged? That is like me saying Spanian allegedly released a food review show called It's All Eats, bruh. There's footage of it. I think we can drop that.
Mr. Barilaro says all he did was push the camera away, upset, he claims, at being treated like a criminal over his appointment to a $500,000 a year job in New York.
Oh, he's being treated like a criminal. That must suck. We would have no idea what that feels like. Hearing his side of the story has really evoked some sympathy from me.
It's not New York, but it's not bad. Saturday afternoon at the Wharf Bar Manly, and the low-profile John Barilaro is spotted by fellow patrons. 4 hours later, he emerged.
Mr. Barilaro, Channel 7 News. Are you disappointed that the Labor is blocking your appearance before the public inquiry?
Look, this is all very well and good, and I'm glad that you sprung him, Channel 7. That's great. You really, you seem to have been able to have carried on all of those skills that you lost from Today Tonight. I'm glad that this is kind of like the grand libraries hidden behind medieval walls. You still have retained the knowledge, but can somebody ask the pertinent question? John Barilaro, how much plastic surgery have you had? Look at how shiny his face is. It's like he doused it in Pinoclean.
For weeks, the former Nationals leader has been at the centre of a parliamentary inquiry and highly damaging allegations about his $500,000 New York posting, insisting he wanted to tell his side of the story, but not on Saturday night.
Yes, this is not an appropriate time to discuss this. After all, I'm trying to have fun. Really elaborate, elite fun.
Was seized and thrown into the bushes. Then, when a second freelance camera arrived on the scene, tensions rocketed.
I don't think we've ever pointed this out about John Barilaro before. And again, this is just all reporting, okay? But he's a very short, wide man, isn't he? There's no joke there. I'm just describing what I'm seeing in front of me. It's kind of just like seeing the Sasquatch.
Mr. Barilaro paced towards him, lunges for the camera, his hands raised, but he walked.
I feel like every enraged soccer fan in Europe. Come on, he's touching the camera, man! What are you doing? That's obviously not Italian, by the way. That's a French accent.
Lunges for the camera, his hands raised, but he walked.
How pathetic are John's fight moves. I always wanted to venture into the MMA YouTube world, and I think now's my chance. Here's my audition. Goes for the side swipe, and it's a quick deflection, and he goes for the face, and it's all over! It is all over! It's all over? He has the same moves that a baby does when you blow in its face. That Let's just say that when he inevitably joins the fight, I'm not selecting you.
Barilaro's friend, believed to be a former media officer, also jumped in.
Oh, Jesus, look at her. She's got more fight in her than John does. Is that Lugston? The new and improved ice climbers.
By the 50-year-old.
Oh no, he's in!
Freelance cameraman Matt
he needs a paw to the
Costello
face!
says he was shaken and astonished.
I do also like how we're very G'd about all of this, but you could just see from the passerbys what a tiny, tiny nanosphere we are, that everybody else is just looking at the former Deputy of New South Wales, their former Deputy Premier, socking a camera in the face, and they're all just like, yeah, typical Friday night. This originally showed up on an Instagram page called Creatures of Manly. I mean, it's accurate, but it's also underselling it a bit.
Freelance cameraman...
Now that I'm looking at him again.
I was scared. You can't behave like that, no matter who you are.
The cameraman said Mr. Barilaro, a former Deputy Premier and career politician, would have handled thousands of encounters with media and knows how to say no comment and keep walking. But from Mr. Barilaro...
So I'm being absolutely...
This is so good. I have not seen the 2GB interview, but apparently he just denies what was caught on camera. There's a lot of things I could say right now, but I'm just going to compose myself like John Barilaro most certainly did not.
Intruded on and harassed. I'm a private citizen. I left politics last year.
But police are now investigating.
I'm a private citizen who just wants heaps and heaps of public money. F off.
Investigating possible assault. Mr. Costello says his camera was broken and his back's been injured.
All I did was push a camera out of my way, did not manhandle an individual.
John, I don't know if you know this about cameras, but they have this feature called slow motion. So if you're going to say that something that is filmed on camera didn't happen, it's only going to, because it's a visual medium, look worse for you. Let's go on the replay.
All I did was push a camera out of my way, did not manhandle an individual.
Let's see what the camera says.
Ready? Go!
I was there doing a job, as I'm entitled to do in a public place.
Ultimately, though, Mr. Barilaro blames Labor's inquiry for the intense media interest.
Well, it's good to see that one part of his media training stayed consistent after he left office and became a private citizen. Blame it on Labor. It's Labor's fault that you, and I'm not accusing you of anything, John, the hearing's still going, but no, I've got to stop again. All right, we're just going to have to let the... I hate just watching Channel 7 like I'm your average Twitch streamer, just sitting there bored and being like, oh, cool, I'm going to play some video games. And I think we all know what video game I'd be playing. That's right, Cement.
Labor's inquiry for the intense media interest.
This is why cameramen are chasing me down the street, like I'm a criminal.
Yes, like you're a criminal, like.
Mr Barilaro is again pleading to be called before the inquiry so that he can put his side of the story, but the Labor opposition is refusing, saying they can't question him properly until the government hands over key documents on that New York appointment.
We're still waiting for it. If it had been given to committee members, I think John Barilaro's evidence would have come and gone by now.
Labor has forced the recall of Parliament's upper house this Friday to get the documents released.
Just because there's been a couple of coincidences in relation to when cabinet submissions went up or whatever, I've done nothing wrong. Nothing wrong.
Well, I'm glad to see that Ben Fordham is finally enacting his role as voice of the people and seeker of the truth. He is trying to just... This is amazing. A medium that is completely devoid of any vision whatsoever. What's your side of the story, John? Oh, unfortunately, we can't show the listeners at home what actually happened. So, yeah, just come on over. Get up. I know it must be very hard for you at the moment, John. You must be hungover from your extremely important night out of partying in Manly. But, yeah. What happened, Johnny? Tell us all about it. And we're just going to end it at that. Thank God there are no visual mediums on Earth that this could possibly be televised on. By the way, thank you so much for doing so, Channel 7. I wish you did this 2 years ago. But, better late than never. Make sure that you like and subscribe. Remember, I've got shows. See which city I'm coming to next and if it's near you. And I will see you next time, and hopefully we can do something where I don't have to be sitting here half playing charades with you. It's like the exact opposite of Ben Fordham's problem. This entire video was me being like, and then this happened, and then, and then John went to, so John Barilaro has been at a hearing, and that hearing was...
Please share and comment below. Comment.